Welcome back to another video here. I am the football expert. My name is Rykley Ruby, and today we will be overviewing Michigan's schedule and giving some predictions on this schedule. We'll see what this team looks like going into this year, how the team played last year, and then what this season will look like, how the team will go, whether it will be succeeding, failing, anything in between. So let's get started into the schedule. Make sure there'll also be a link up here, I believe. Just make sure that you check out the rest of the predictions that will be out. I already have a Notre Dame prediction out, and then you'll be seeing some other predictions here. If you've come a couple of days after the original release, there'll be some more predictions as well. But let's get into Michigan's team. Obviously, Michigan coming back this year with a new head coach in Kyle Whittingham, but a old quarterback in Bryce Underwood that now in his sophomore campaign, the five-star, had a fantastic first season with the Wolverines, but is going to need to take some improvement if Michigan is really going to take it to the next level this year with Jordan Marshall as the running back for the Wolverines and honestly a stout defense. We'll see how it transitions for Kyle Whittingham and the new head coach for Michigan. So let's start off with first game of the season, a home game against Western Michigan at Ann Arbor. So home game, I think that they should be getting into a groove here. This may be a little bit of a slow game, a slow start to the season for them. But as we start to get into the season a little bit, I think that this game will be particularly important just to be able to get into the groove of things. Bryce Underwood with a new regime, and the Jordan Marshall with a new regime could have some slow starts there. But I do see that as a win for Michigan. No problems there. Then a home game against Oklahoma. This is the home and away that they had scheduled. And last year, you had a very interesting game last year. So I think that this game will once again be a very interesting one to see who's able to come away with the victory, what will be able to be established, because it's a game that last year Michigan lost 24-13. And it was really just a point that if they were going to get into the playoffs, they really needed to win that type of game. Then with the loss to Southern Cal, it really eliminated any shot at the playoffs. But that's kind of where you need to see some improvement there. This time now you have a second-year quarterback instead of a true freshman quarterback. So I think that does do a lot of help to this matchup. But at the end of the day, I think that Michigan is going to struggle a bit offensively. Don't get me wrong. I think Oklahoma's offense has a lot of issues as well. But with the new head coach, I'm going to favor a little bit more of Brett Venables as a veteran coach at Oklahoma versus a veteran coach at a new school in Kyle Whittingham. But either way, that leads us into the next game, which is a home game against UTEP. Once again, it's another one of these games that you're really just getting into the motions here. UTEP didn't really have a great season last year, but you are starting to see a little bit of improvement possibly from this team. We'll see whether that happens. Obviously, like I said, they went 2-10. Not a great season record-wise, but you had some close games. A 31-25 loss to University of Louisiana at Monroe, 8-19 loss against Liberty, a 13-point loss to Kennesaw State, a 3-point loss to Jackson State, a 3-point loss to New Mexico State. There's a lot of games that if they swung in your favor, this team could be a lot closer to 500. But when they're playing Michigan, easy win for the Wolverines, W for them there. Then you have a home game against the Iowa Hawkeyes. This is a game that I find really interesting to see what it will look like for Iowa because I believe they played this game last year. I'll have to double check to see if they did. I obviously they play a good bit, but I think Iowa is a team that they have a lot of potential. They definitely do. They did not play last year, actually. It's one of their first years that they had not played in a while. But I think that you have some improvement there uh, for that Iowa team. Last year, you went 8-4. You had a little bit more offensive production, getting even a close game at Southern Cal and a close game at home against Oregon. I think that this Iowa team possibly could take a step forward. And if they did that, then it would be very interesting to see what this game looks like. But with it being on the road, I am going to give the benefit of the doubt to the Wolverines, but it's a very small edge. I could very well see Iowa picking up a win here. Then you have a road game against Minnesota. Again, another very interesting matchup. Minnesota under, I believe, the 7th year of PJ Fleck. But Minnesota football, it's been up and down a little bit. PJ Fleck, no, actually, this is year number 9 for PJ Fleck, 2017. But a 66-44 record for Fleck in that position. I'm just not 100% sure whether Fleck can go in or not go in, but get a home win against Michigan. I just don't know if I trust him. I'm going to give the win to Michigan here. So I have Michigan starting off 4-1. And then they have a homecoming game against Penn State. I think that this is a win. I think Penn State is a team that's going to take a little bit. They lost a lot of pieces, a lot of recruits. So you could see Rocco Becht get into Penn State with Matt Campbell and have some success early. I just don't see it here on the road against Penn State or against Michigan. So I think Michigan's going to be able to pull away with this game. And hopefully you have a bit more production from the quarterback position and rely on the offensive line a little more, who wasn't bad last season, but definitely could use a lot of help. You have a couple of new transfer wide receivers as well. So a changing up of the guard there at wide receiver could play an interesting factor in a game like this, but an even more of a factor against Indiana. I have this as a loss. So I think that Indiana is just, I don't know if Kirk Cignetti can win a back-to-back national championships, but I do trust him to win this game here. So a loss for the Wolverines. Then you got a road game against Rutgers. I think that that's a very interesting matchup in Piscataway. But right now, Rutgers has just been up and down. They lose a lot of their big pieces every year. I got a win here for Michigan. Moving on to a rivalry game against Michigan State. Pat Fitzgerald, the new head coach there at Michigan State, could play an interesting game with it being a rivalry game. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give the win to Michigan because it's at home. And I just don't know what Pat Fitzgerald is going to look like in year one. So we'll see what happens there. Road game against Oregon. I have this one as a loss. I think Dan Lanning has done a fantastic job with that Oregon program. And I think that he needs to take that next step. But right now, he's winning games like this. Road game at Oregon, at Eugene. Big win for the Wolverines. Home game against UCLA. That's going to be another win. I just don't see UCLA really getting up to Michigan's level. But I think they have a bit more competitive of a game. So a win there for the Bruins. Or I'm sorry, a win there for the Wolverines over the Bruins. Then a road game at Ohio State. And this is where I think they are going to get their third loss of the season. 9-3 is my predicted record here for the Wolverines. And here's why with the Ohio State loss. I know a lot of Michigan fans are going to be disappointed because they want to beat Ohio State. They don't want to have another L in the column there, especially against a rival like Ohio State. But I think when it comes to it at the end of the day, you got to be able to have some consistency in your offense before I really trust this team. You had a loss to Ohio State last year, 27-9. The offense was just non-existent in that game. The Texas game was a little bit better at the end of the season, but I just don't know if I trust this team to be able to really pull off a victory in Columbus. So what I'm going to do, I have Michigan losing that game at Ohio State, and I think they're going to go 9-3 once again. And with that 9-3 record, it's a good first season, something that Kyle Whittingham can build upon. but I just don't see Michigan getting over that hump this year in the first year of Whittingham. So I'm going to give them the L there. So that's going to wrap up today's video. Make sure one of the two videos down below, the series will be down below. So hit one of those. Hit the subscribe button up here as well if you're not already subscribed, and like the video down below. Comment your thoughts and opinions, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.